Working on a house project not too far from the shop today, and one of the aspects of the job that we've been working on is the flooring, among many other portions of work that we've been doing. But today we're going to be working on the stairs. Now I've already got the horizontal or the front pieces glued to the front of the steps, so today I need to be working on the treads. The problem with the treads is that there's some pretty nasty contouring that needs to be done on the banister side where the posts come down to the floor. And there's a double bead trim that runs up and down the staircase. So every one of these treads needs to be contoured around that trim, as well as many of these posts that come to the floor. Now I can't afford to replace these treads that we have because they're custom ordered, and I can't wait a week to get them in. The job needs to be done today. So I have this contouring tool, and I think you'll be really interested to see it and watch the process. It's the best way that I think that we can do this without messing up or ruining a bunch of these treads. So I'm going to zip over to the house real quick and we'll get started on the job right now. Got to get some of these open. Nice. Cut that off, get all this plastic off. There's one. You can see I've got some things in my way, need to notch around. First I have this, and then I have this piece of trim that protrudes out. I've already marked this with my scrap edging piece right there. Super handy tool, this Johnson 10-inch, it's called a contour gauge. I just call it a contour finder. But you can see these fingers, they move in and out, and you can already imagine. Now, there are other products like this, and most of them are metal fingers, but this one has a lot of really cool features, and these, they don't flex around like this. They're positioned better, and there's a locking gauge here. So once you find your contour, you just swing this over and it locks it in, so it doesn't shift or move. By the time you go put it on your piece and make the cut, it stays in position. So I'm going to unlock it right now, and I'm going to put it, all you do is, just as you would suspect, slide it right into position. I like to push these to make sure they're nice and tight, and lock into position. I cut this particular piece, so you can see what I did. I just put it on the right position. Cut this out with a jigsaw because it's a little bit rounded. As you can see, this corner is a little rounded. And then cut this off with the table saw to the width we needed. Here we are. My tread against this. And again, good thing we have the contour finder, and that's what we'll do. We'll use the contour finder to cut that. We know where our front point is, so I'm gonna just take this, line it up with that front point, and then I'm gonna come in here with this and just press it like that. Again, I'm gonna use my finger to just make sure we're straight there. Now, you see the contour? See how it's doing? I'm gonna pull this off, lock this down. Okay, you can see our contour. Look at that baby. Now all I gotta do is put this on the front of this board right here, and there's my contour. Pretty sweet. So let's start with the top. I've already lined it up. I'm just gonna simply take this and trace that. And look at that contour, and that's pretty cool, isn't it? Another thing about this gadget is you can see the points are reversed. So we got the points on this end on the top, and the points here reversed. This was the edge that I used as the contour finder, but what happens is we're not touching, and it's deeper in the back, see? But what I can do is use this side And that's exactly what I'm gonna do, because it basically gives the same thing, only this allows me to go directly flat to make that transfer. All right, so that's our front contour there. Take it to the jigsaw, cut that out. That's my cut. If we're a little small, better than overcut, right? Let's try it. So we don't fit perfect, but the good news is what we're lacking here, we're also lacking in the back, which means that we're just a little long on this straight edge here. I'm gonna go trim that. The difference of this, which is about maybe a little less than a 16th, bump it over, and it'll be nice and tight. You're already pretty close, but we want to try to get closer. Perfect. Trimmed it. Man, that's a nice tight fit. Wow, look at that nice contour fit. Tight all the way. Stick around to the end of the video and you'll see how we're tackling this step with this post on the bottom, and we've got a return miter edge on this edge too. That one's a little bit trick. So like I say, that'll be at the end of the video, so stick around and you'll see that one. A 10 13/16. Lock that in, cut it. Now, I can't run it like this because it'll tip. So I have to run it upside down, and luckily this stuff is laminated, it isn't gonna scratch. But what we wanna do to try to make sure, because when the blade comes down, it's gonna wanna chip the bottom side. All we're gonna do is lower the blade and do what's called a score. We're gonna score the bottom. I have lowered the blade down to about 1/16 to 1/8. We're just gonna score it. We're upside down, we don't want the blade to chip it out as it comes down through. If I had this cutting all the way through, it would want to chip. It isn't going to matter again too much, but it's going to be covered up. But look at that perfect cut, see how clean that is, no chipping. On laminate, it's going to chip. And then we're going to raise the blade up and we'll cut all the way through on the second pass. Gives us a perfect cut without chips. That's one way to not chip your laminates. Just have to go flat, and as we come up, and we start to actually tip it, we don't see it. There we go. Something a little like that. Second step, we're still a good 1/16 strong, and I want to be tight. So we're just touching, now that I've got this in, we're touching here. I'm going to detail that out a little bit more here and here. You'll watch it with the wind sander. This is the tool I was using in the house just a minute ago. I had clients in there, so I didn't want to say much about it inside, but this is just a little Win detail sander. It just takes this tiny little belt, as you can see. Super good. I'll put the link in the description below. This is just a quick, easy Amazon tool, but man, what you can do with it, in this case, nice detail sanding. That's what it's for. There's the fitment of our second tread down. You can see that nice tight fitment. Moving on to the third. Third tread. Looks like we just have a bead trim to deal with here. Third step down, you can see I've got a good strong 16th here. What we're touching here. So all I'm doing is little bits at a time, and I'm whittling it down with this detail sander. So the answer to the question is no, I don't change my shirt throughout the day. This is actually the second day. I'm not even mic'd up, but I wanted to do a little video of this detail sander out here because I noticed the lighting wasn't great, and I really wanted to kind of emphasize the value of this tool on this job. But I would normally do this on the steps so I don't have to keep walking up and down, in and out, back and forth. So, but the lighting's better here. Wanted to just kind of show some detail sanding here and you know what that looks like up close. Probably not absolutely necessary, but I'm just gonna use this clamp to clamp this thing down just to keep it from moving around. The thing I like to do is I like to back bevel stuff too. So see how I'm kind of putting it at an angle and beveling it down this way. That way none of this is ever a problem when we're actually hitting something in the background that we just can't see. 3rd step, final fitment. Man, talking hairline. Finally an easy one. Don't have to worry about the bead contour, just this rail, which is kind of nice. So I'm just gonna mark the face where this is gonna want to come out to, so I know where to put my contour tool. The lead spot of my contouring tool there, and press in, just like that. Now I'm gonna lock it into place. Cool. For you to try to convince me that this tool is not as cool as I say it is. Because look at that, all I gotta do is stick it right there, mark this, and it's as easy as that. Look at that. Perfect. .35.5 from here. There it is. Fitment, 4th board. Nice. 5th step. Nice fitment. 6th step. Nasty post and bead trim. It is what it is. But thanks to this contouring tool, you can see just how easy, comparatively, this is going to be. Gotta get here around this. It goes under, so it has to be filled with some kind of Bondo because somebody cut that out. And we're tight here, so you can see where I made my mark to go around that bead. This is probably my 5th or 6th attempt at trying to get this right. You can see all of the markings where I still need to carve this out. So you just have to take your time, have the patience. Little bits here, little bits there. 6th step. Okay, that's basically it. Just got to trim this down over here because it's hitting the wall right there in the front. No biggie. The way, smart tip, I had this at about a 1/2 degree on that cut. Best to unlock it and set it back at 0 before you leave. Otherwise you or the next person will just assume it's at 0. So better to fix it before you leave than hope you remember when you come back. Step 6, final fitment. 7th step, amazingly come out pretty tight on the first shot. Again, we've got this gap here because it's the up and down gap where they tore it out, not the side to side. So I've just got a tiny little bit to take off of this tip right here, and then we're good. Okay, last step for the day, 7th step, fitment, right on. Okay. Now, say for the day, I did every other step. The reason for that is this will allow the client to continue to go up and down the steps. I have to glue these treads down so they can step on every other one, and then tomorrow I'll come back and do the opposite treads, and that will allow them to do the same thing for the next night. All right, we have every other opposing step on the 2nd day. Wet ones are marked with tape. We've got this bottom step. Bottom step has this quirky return here. So I'm gonna have to put this horizontal piece on the face, and I've got a miter on it. And we'll have to return that, and we'll have to do the same when we cut this top tread. So that'll be interesting to watch. Okay, got this nice piece here. I'm gonna cake some glue. Nice fit. So this one will have, well, everything except the bead, because it's way up here. But I'll have to cut around this post, and then I'm gonna have to return back into here, extend out past the edge here, and also have a piece of mitered edge that comes in here. So that's gonna be interesting. We'll see how that works. Bottom step, a little different. We're gonna use the contour gauge, same as we would on the rest. Only difference is when we set this on our tread piece, we're going to have to move it in to the left, give ourselves enough room to extend this, and we'll just measure from here to there to see where that cut needs to be made. Got the scrap, we just need to make sure that we get past the right side underneath, see, right down there. So I measured from here to there, 3 inches. So that'll be our mark. Especially on a piece as custom as this, you definitely want to take a piece of scrap. I think I only have 1 tread left. I might have 2, and I only need the 1, but it might be 1. I gotta check. But don't want to waste them anyway. So always use a scrap piece. So that's what I have. It's just the cut off on another. So I'm gonna mark it the way that I figured it, and that was that this would be 3 inches over. Just gonna take this and mark 3 inches over from our post. And then I marked 10 1/8 deep overall. So that's where we're gonna be. And right there. I highly doubt that this is going to come out right the first time. And that's why we definitely need to do it on this scrap piece. We might be surprised, but don't think so. Not on this one. Okay, so 3 inches over here. What that means is, should be putting a miter on this piece here from this corner, and then we'll cut the rest of this out and it should be good. Way over here. Cut this miter. I doubt this is visible on the camera, my line here. Sometimes I would mark this with a piece of tape just so that I can see it better, and it also, in some cases, keeps it from chipping out too. I'm just gonna darken my lines a little bit. Okay, jigsaw. Check that, see if it works. First fitment here, slide this over. Okay, I'm seeing some minor issues, really close, but still not perfect. Got about a 1/16 or less here. That means we need to round this corner out. That's where we're bumping, right there. So we'll round this out a little bit. Also, I noticed that we're about a 1/16 gap back here. We'll fix that by taking more here. But then what that means is that we'll be gappy here when we scoot this back. We're tight now, but we'll be about a 6. So we're gonna, on the final cut, we'll make our line back this way just a little bit. But we're good on our miter. You can see we're clear. So liking that. The only way I can lay this down on the board that we need and use it as a template is just to cut this edge off so I can lay it flat. I'm just gonna stand this up like this and we'll take that off easy enough with the table saw here. Okay, that is it. Let's cut it. And here we go. This part doesn't really matter because it's underneath the step. And get rid of some of that. The blade here to more or less curve or contour this corner. I can't bend it that sharp. Okay, that ought to do it. Let's see what happens. Well, that's our final piece. Haven't fit it yet, but that's what it's supposed to look like. Anyway. All right, that's my final fitment. I'm gonna lock my answer in. Got the glue, lock it in.
Got something over your knees?
Yeah.
So you don't glue yourself.
Here we go. Cool. It's nice. I like it. And so do all of you. Last miter piece return. Who's the best? Who is the best? Well, that's pretty nice, that's all. Gonna glue it. Glue. Glue. Nice, nice and tight. It's there. Can't put any fasteners on it, so the only thing I got is this tape. Now we just got trim to do. That'll be another day. We did it. We all did it together. I mostly did it. Hard work made easy with this secret weapon. But I think, at least as far as I'm concerned, even better than this secret weapon, this was more useful. All right, so that's it. Now, I think both of us should reach down. I'm gonna reach down and pick up this mess, and while I do that, why don't you reach down and click that subscribe button. It's a one-step process, if you get what I mean. Thanks for watching.